microwave for you or the oil, they annoy you. You add another snick for the wrong reasons. Election years now seeming like full-blown seasons.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let us discuss Claudio Castagnoli, aka Cesaro, and him leaving the WWE. So the way the story goes, from my understanding, is that Cesaro's contract expired. They were in negotiations. During the negotiations, WWE made an offer that Cesaro didn't necessarily like. Maybe it was too low, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they asked him to take a pay cut, however that goes. And he didn't really want to leave, but he kind of felt like the offer was far too low and would have rather went elsewhere. So that's the general idea. So he wasn't fired, they just kind of let him go and didn't really care to re-sign him, whether he re-signed or not. To me, this is why this video is being made, because to me, that's a slap in the face. Cesaro has been on the roster since 2010, 2011. And now in all of those years, he has won one singles championship. One. He was United States champion for a couple of months in like 2012 or 2011. He was champion one time. Now, of all the things that you don't want to push him, you don't want to make him a main event guy, okay, at least pay the fucking guy, okay? Excuse my language, YouTube. At least pay the guy, You need to have guys like this on the roster. You need high-level utility players. Sometimes people think that, look, there's no roster anywhere that's filled with stars from top to bottom. It doesn't work out. It just doesn't work. Either it gets too expensive, or you have all types of booking and logistical issues. There's going to be some problems. You're not going to have stars, main event marquee stars from top to bottom. It has never occurred. You need a guy like Cesaro on the roster because he is a high-level utility player. And he is a guy who, if WWE had even half a brain, the moment William Regal was cut, they would have moved Cesaro right into that spot. Whatever William Regal was doing, Cesaro should have been doing it. He's, I think, 40, maybe a little over 40. And he probably had some years in the ring left. But you need to utilize that time better. To me, over in NXT UK, they have Meiko Satomura, who's probably closer to 50 than 40. Well, she looks closer to 50 than 40. She's like an old Japanese grandma. But she's actually doing a pretty good job of helping the young girls over there by wrestling them, helping them get better. To me, Cesaro would have been a great opponent for a guy like an Ilya Dragunov and some of the younger guys in NXT UK. And because he's European, and he speaks all the languages and everything, he would have been great over there. You could have, you was taking Walter from over there, Gunther from over there, send Cesaro. Why not rotate these guys? I know Finn Balor wanted to go over there. When times get tough with Sheamus, you can send him over there. Like, you have all of these options, all these opportunities to keep guys fresh, to take them off WWE TV, not fire them, but send them to a different territory, to a different part, a different department where they can help build up the young talent, do something fresh for their careers and do something new and become a mentor, and then eventually get moved over to the backstage roles that you might want them to have later on. I'm under no idea. I have no cause to say that Cesaro should have been world champion. I don't subscribe to that. Cesaro is a high-level utility player. You need somebody who's a good babyface who can challenge for the world title and come up short. Cesaro is your guy. You need somebody to be in a tag team to help somebody else come up. Cesaro is your guy. You need somebody to get in the gym to work a guy out, see if he still got it. Cesaro is your guy. I mean, there's just so many different ways to use him. And wrestling fans have gotten too comfortable with this. He's a mid-carder, therefore he has no value. Not all mid-carders are the exact same way. Cesaro, as we've seen, cannot be on the show and the show won't change. But that don't mean that he doesn't have value. There are so many other things for him to do that somebody has to just be looking at what can he do on screen to think this is a issue. Look, the biggest thing, and I'm going to just say this, if he goes to AEW, which he probably will, the biggest thing that WWE is giving AEW is trainers. It is the number one thing that they're giving them. Part of what made AEW suck so bad was everybody was laughing at how bad the talent was. You know, how terrible they were, how green they were. By having Punk over there, Danielson, and now you're going to send Cesaro over there, and Samoa Joe, and then maybe William Regal, and all these guys, you're sending all of your trainers, all of your guys who knows what they're doing, you're sending all of them over to AEW. They're going to eventually make that roster better. So even if they're trash, you know, they could bring in a Dante Martin, and who knows, he may be one of the guys who might listen to Cesaro, and all of a sudden, he's better. You're making that roster better. You're making that roster stronger. Even if you don't value the name of Claudio Castagnoli. You don't like the name Bryan Danielson. You don't like that guy. He might be the mentor to somebody you actually do like. He might actually mentor somebody who might actually affect business for AEW one day. And that's something you need to consider. That's something you need to consider. Yes, them being on your television is one thing. Them being on AEW's television is one thing. Do I think a Kyle O'Reilly or a Cesaro is going to make a huge difference as far as their television? No, I don't. I don't see these guys being automatic game changers in terms of how people view the show. Nobody's going to turn to the show just because Cesaro's on it. You know, and you're calling him Claudio now. No one's going to do that. But nobody watched for Norman Smiley either. Nobody watched for Matt Bloom either. These people could be good trainers. They could be good mentors. And Cesaro, to me, is a good ambassador, especially when it comes to Europe. And WWE is not, if the British YouTube channels, let's say, are any barometer of WWE in Europe, they definitely need some help in Europe in terms of having good ambassadors for the company. You know, you need to have good ambassadors. You need to be able to send people over there to do media on behalf of and Drew McIntyre is great. Finn Balor is great, but who knows? They don't really value Finn Balor either. And there's something to be said about European talent in general not really being valued in WWE. There's just something to be said about that. You know, people with accents. That's one thing, you know. WWE doesn't really do well with accents. But Cesaro was a guy, I said he's a sentimental favorite. He is not your top guy. He's not going to be that guy. But he should have been long-running Intercontinental Champion. Not quite Tito Santana, but maybe a Kurt Hennig type of middle card guy, where he's an upper middle card guy, where he can challenge for the world title. He can win King of the Ring tournaments or get close to winning the Royal Rumble, and nobody would be too upset. You know, having him lose 3-minute tag matches to Ridge Holland or whatever isn't appropriate usage of him. But that's how WWE has chose to use him. And we can argue till we're blue in the face about that. And yeah, I will agree that was wrong. But I think the people who are swinging the other way, oh, he should have been world champion multiple times, just give him a manager. It's like, no, even if you give, the manager does not going to fix everything. You know, he is a likable guy, but he is not a lovable guy. You know, he has to be, look, he's the kind of guy where if you saw him at an autograph signing, you shake his hand, you tell him, hey, thank you so much. You did such a great job. You know, he's a great utility guy. He's not the guy you're going to mark out and scream like, oh my God, I can't believe it, Cesaro. Oh my God. No. He's not somebody you love. He's not somebody you hate. He's a guy that you respect, that you kind of like. You know, it's hard to say, you know, who else you would put in that sort of straight up mid-tier where you're not that happy he's there, and you're not that upset if he's not there, you know. So I would say, it's kind of putting it bad to say like a hardcore Holly. Like, that's not appropriate, because hardcore Holly was, but he was in that role. Hardcore Holly was there for a long time. He was there for like almost 20 years, I think. Rikishi was another one. He was, I call them linebackers, like offensive tackles, I should say. If you look at it like a football team, these are your offensive linemen. Offensive linemen don't score touchdowns. They don't celebrate in the end zone. Nobody's talking about how much money we're going to throw at this offensive tackle. And when people, and they get invited to the Hall of Fame, they get golf claps. Nobody's like ranting about it for 15 minutes on television. It's like, oh, well, he doesn't allow sacks. That's good. I guess he did his job, I guess. I don't know. What exactly does an offensive tackle actually do? So that's how you look at utility players. You look at it as, did they do their job efficiently, effectively, and did it in a way where people were happy they were there? Yes. Is he going to make or break your show? No. But I think they should certainly have valued him a lot more than they did. And since he still had a lot more in the tank, and he could still go, he was in incredible shape, they could have found other ways to utilize him. They chose not to. And I'm sure they have their own reasons. But for me, one of the most damaging things they could do is to send AEW all of this knowledge of people who have spent years in WWE, who have been through the system, been through the training, and can make that roster better. Look, I'm just saying it as a situation for a competitor. I'm cool with AEW getting better. I want AEW to get better. But WWE shouldn't want AEW to get better. And look, he's not going to sell out a 20,000 seat arena with him on top. I don't see that. But I see him maybe inspiring and lighting the flame of the next guy who might be able to do something like that. And WWE just gave it away. It's silly, but hopefully, because the contract expired, there'll be some continued negotiations. Maybe they can get closer to the money he wants. And maybe he'll bounce back. Maybe he'll re-sign. Maybe AEW really doesn't want him. We don't know. The hottest ticket on today's independent scene are 40-year-old journeymen. As we've seen with AEW, that will sign pretty much anybody. So it's not like they're, AEW signing the best of the best. They're signing guys who've been around for 20 years. They're signing rookies who've been around for 5 years. They're signing high school students who are 16 years old. AEW is going all over the map looking for talent. And Cesaro is a very talented guy. He's very good. Everybody likes him. Nobody has said anything bad about him except for he doesn't have a lot of charisma. And that's true. But he's a great worker. And it's really sad that WWE did not decide to do something more with him and to give him more opportunities. And if you're not going to use him on TV, okay, send him somewhere else where he can become more useful, or at least let him work. You have situations with Progress and WXW and all that type of stuff. Imagine if you'd have sent that guy to go wrestle in those places. That could have been so much fun. But WWE doesn't believe in having fun. And plus, he might have made too much money to do that. Who knows? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.